Hello there, quilting friends. Susan Smith here, coming to you from my studio, standing in front of my pretty little pressing station, just waiting for Instagram to show a few of you that I'm here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about our upcoming cruise, and I'm going to be joined by my friend and fellow teacher, Bethanne. I see that she's on air. It's just going to take a minute for Instagram to catch up here before we can join each other. There we go. Tech is always such a challenge, isn't it? No matter how organized we try to be and how many times we do a test drive, these things happen. Anyway, for those of you who are now tuning in, hi everyone, there's Bethanne. Can you hear me okay?
Hello, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Good, good. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Here we are, both of us. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about our upcoming cruise, and you may have heard about it in previous months, but we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to learn some of the details about it and some of the features that are a bit different from your typical quilting cruise. So first off, the generalities. It's in the Caribbean. Yay! I live in the Pacific Northwest, so the thought of the Caribbean in January is very appealing.
I just
and so
got 3 new bathing suits just to get ready.
Oh, good. The bathing suit wardrobe. Okay, I honestly haven't thought that far ahead. I've just been dreaming of the food. Have you ever been on a cruise, Bethanne?
T 3 separate times.
Okay.
And all 3 times were very bad for my waistline. So,
oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at every cruise they joke about bringing you on as passengers and rolling you off as cargo. You know,
100%.
That's the standard joke, and that's why the food is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so January 18 to 25 in 2025. And this is specifically a machine quilters cruise. So obviously I'll be there. My husband and I are the hosts, Dave and I. And Bethanne is one of our guest teachers. So today's kind of point is for her to have an opportunity to highlight some of the things that she's teaching. And then the two of us will talk back and forth a little bit about kind of the whole experience as we see it for quilters. So why don't you dive in, Bethanne, with some of the things, your style and what you're bringing to the cruise?
Sure. Well, I'm kind of the high-end quilt, the ever-living snot out of it, half or third of this cruise. I'm a big fan of just really embracing your creativity and letting the quilted line be more than just the quilted line. I like to think about why a quilt is existing in the first place, who it's going to, does it have a theme, does it have a purpose, does it have an artistic quality outside of, hey, we sewed together some cool stuff. And so I like to think about those things as I'm choosing quilting designs. And so I'm going to be bringing that sort of flavor of me as the art major, me as an artist, into the conversation, I guess, with quilting. Another thing I'm really passionate about, because I was a long arm for hire for many years, is this idea of budget. And that doesn't mean money per se, although it can mean money. It's this firm idea that we only want to invest in terms of the quilted line, what the budget of the quilt is. Now, whether that's a financial budget or where it's an emotional budget, like what's the line in the sand between time budget, like how much time am I willing to invest in this, give it away, cut the strings on this project that I've given to a church group or to my niece or whatever it is, and no longer feel like I'm emotionally invested in how that quilt is being taken care of. So if we get angry because that quilt is not cared to our desires, which happens all the time, then we haven't done a good job on our end budgeting emotionally or from a time perspective. And so that's one of my little soapboxes. And so I have a couple of classes, one of which is mid-custom quilting design bonanza. So that is really a wonderful conversational point for those either in business or interested in finding that balance between, should I show off everything I know how to do versus
all on one quilt.
How to create that point where I've invested an attractive amount of time on my end so that the product is nice, but I'm able to kind of cut those apron strings and not be upset once that quilt is out in the world. So that's where the mid-custom qualities come in. And I feel like it's our job, particularly those of us in business, to tone down our quilting. We don't have to show off everything that we know how to do. And to learn to communicate with our clients. And that's something I'm going to be bringing also. We have some business breakout sessions that I'm really excited about. I think that's super different about this particular cruise and this project. So that idea of that communication style, if you're in business, how to, gently not break it, break it to your clients. Like they
Yeah.
can't afford what they're asking for. So let's tone this down. And that's where sort of that mid-custom comes into
And
play.
really, really truthfully,
Yeah.
I mean, we are doing business breakouts with the quilter who wants to get in business in mind, but
Mm-hmm.
some of those principles apply
All the
even if
time.
you're just quilting as a hobby or quilting occasionally for friends,
For
even when you're
sure.
quilting your own things, like being reasonable about what it's feasible to spend, as you say, not just money, but time, but energy, but thought, on
Mm-hmm.
one particular quilt.
Sure.
And how do you gauge that, and what are some
Rotator cuff
principles?
injury, like all of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's all part of that decision making process.
yeah.
You don't want to give that quilt away and then be super mad that somebody did, like they didn't cherish it the way you thought. So like just toning it down.
And you don't want to
uh,
hate it long before it comes off the long arm rails
no, you
either.
want to be inspired the whole time.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm really excited about, I teach feathers. I do feathers. I think I'm probably pretty well known for my free motion machine quilted feathers. And so one of the presentations, one of the classes that I'm doing is to really just go from basic, simple, utilitarian and then how to add details and inserts to like ramp up the coolness factor. And so you can just really like have fun and find your personality when it comes to it. And one of the things I really like to show people is a way to like choose 3 or 4 feathers that feel really good to make in terms of maybe a variety of styles and how to put them together fluidly. So you kind of develop your own little handwriting, I
Yeah.
guess, over time, which is really nice because, it helps you feel like a little bit distinctive. And then the other part that I'm going to be bringing, so there's 3 parts. So the mid-custom, I'm doing the feathers. And then the third part that I'm bringing to the cruise is my expertise with backfills, but scale, like I'm specifically going to present ones that scale. So whether we want to do them very small or blow them up to like Titanic size,
Mhm.
so like, tugboat to Titanic, really. So that if you wanted to do edge to edge work, specifically like on a pen on the long arm, as if it was a pantograph, but it's free motion, not a paper pantograph. So designs that scale really
Hmm.
nicely is another thing that I'm excited. Plus, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Susan invited me to bring my yarn couching
Yes, I did.
stuff.
Because I
I
think
don't know if
that
the cruise
it's
line is
something
prepared.
you have brought to the quilting world and made it kind of mainstream. Couching has been around for a long time.
Couching's been around forever. Free motion machine couching has been around a long time. Using it like paint and like sort of painting with it is, I think, something that I've kind of brought to that a little bit. And it's felt really great this year because not one but 2 quilting museums have brought my yarn couching projects to their exhibitions, so that it's being included like on a museum level into the quilt world, the art world, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if the cruise line's going to love my extra suitcases, but I'm excited to be bringing
I
my
I
stuff.
don't think they care. I don't think they care. Like we're having crates shipped onto the cruise, so
Fantastic.
it's all good.
The only thing I'm really hoping is that we have good air conditioning wherever it is that I'm doing this little event because it's mostly jackets.
Good thinking. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah, I'm sure we do. So to give another overview then for those who are just joining, so this cruise is happening in January. It's machine quilting. Bethanne is one of the teachers. I'm one of them, and our friend Sam Alberts is the other. And the
Mm-hmm.
3 of us bring really different styles. So we're going to have classes. We're going to have trunk shows where we each get to show kind of what our genre is of quilting. And those are going to
Mm-hmm.
be open all the time for you all to view and handle and touch and ask questions. And we'll kind of be rotating in that conference room for you to come and talk to as well.
Yep.
And then these business breakouts that are a little bit a la carte, maybe is the word. You can pick and
Mm-hmm.
choose the ones that are of interest to you. And because we all 3 have different, not only styles of quilting, but even different ways that we approach our businesses, there's going to be a really, I think, really great wealth of practical help there. I've not seen this ever in a quilting cruise before, that there are people coming and talking about, okay, how do I use social media, or how do I photograph quilts, or you're talking about client communication is one of your things. Sam
Mm-hmm.
Albert is going to talk about building up a video library and creating videos. Like these are things that it's hard to learn by trial and error. Trust us, we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
It
going to
is.
just open the doors for you.
Right. And I think probably different than I think all other quilting cruises. Now, I've never been on a quilting cruise specifically, but I've certainly read the, you know,
The blurb.
the syllabus of many others, is that most quilting cruises are treated kind of like a convention. Here's your collection of teachers, here's your classes, have at
Yeah.
it. Where
Up to
with
you to pick and choose and
right,
figure out your schedule and
not
etc.
so much different than going on a smaller scale, like a floating scale, to going to any nice quilting convention. But one of the things I think is really different about the process that you've decided on and you're putting together for your inaugural cruise here is that the three of us are really communicating so that a person who is into machine quilting can stay with the whole program all the way through if they wanted to, and get basically a tiered progressive learning. So, you know, you can go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and be building your education in a way that we've organized to make sense so that you're like each class is strengthening the one before it or the one adjacent to it. So that by the time you're finished with the cruise, you know, you've got a pretty deep dive into the process and art of long arm quilting between the three of us. So I think that's a lot different than the approach of a lot of other types of programs.
And we've worked the schedule such that if you wish, you can grab all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, you know, that's kind of on the at sea days. And then, of course, the in port days, you can take advantage of all that the cruise typically has to offer in their excursions and so forth.
Yeah, go take an excursion. Bring your hiking boots. Go hiking with me.
Do that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing a little hike like in each of my spots.
Is there any national park where we're going? I don't think so.
No, there's not. Although you could ask the cruise to like maybe reroute to the U.S. Virgin Islands, because I haven't yet been to. Yeah, I haven't been to the U.S. Virgin Islands National Park.
They would do that for us, wouldn't they? I think so.
I don't know. They seem flexible. They might.
Okay, big picture again. You mentioned earlier on that your style is very much the high end, the artistic, the quilt it to death, the really give it expression. That's your end. I'm kind of at the other end of the scale where I love to do edge to edge work. I do love to show that it can still be beautiful, but I tend to be about efficiencies and creating a flat quilt and uber practical stuff. That's kind of my skill set. And then Sam just has a unique take. She's quite contemporary in her style. She does a lot of ruler work and that type of thing. And so we just bring these very different flavors. So any quilter coming can get a broad spectrum of ideas and designs. And we are recording all of the lessons for all the guests to take home with them and rewatch at their leisure. So that's another new feature too.
Yeah. So Susan, one of the questions that I get from people emailing me about, hey, tell me more about your cruise, Bethanne, is could you maybe speak to the folks who are listening a little bit about how much is demonstration, how much is hands-on, do they have a chance to practice? Because I think people ask that. I mean, it's a long arm specific cruise. There's not 18 long arms. So I think just the practicalities of that would be interesting to people to hear.
Absolutely. So first off, the disclaimer, I guess, is for Dave and I, this is our inaugural cruise. First time we're hosting one. So we're learning lots as we go. But it was clear right at the outset, we can't have enough long arms on the boat. There's just not a room big enough, you know, or expense that's reasonable to bring long arms for everyone to work on through all the classes. So at this point, we have 2 long arms, and Doug and Heather Cartwright of Everything Long Arm are coming on the boat. And so there will be cameras and large screens for everyone to see as we demonstrate. And basically the classes will be presented lecture style, recorded so that you can go back and watch them, close-up views so that you can really see what we're doing. And then there will be a certain amount of opportunities when the classroom is open, but a class is not being held, that you can go in and either practice these designs or just play around with the long arms and talk to Doug and Heather about those. But I do want to be honest about it. It's not specifically a hands-on quilting class. You're not going to get hours to sit at the long arm and practice. That's why we're giving you the recordings. So you can go home and press pause and press rewind and practice at your leisure. But you get a really good view of what we're showing and talking about within the class.
So I think probably amongst the three of us, I probably have, I think, the most experience with like teaching at conventions and teaching internationally and doing a lot of that stuff. And one of the things that is very difficult about convention style teaching, where a dealer does show up with 12 long arms, but then you're sharing that long arm with someone who generally you don't know. The long arm is not set up to your particular height. It's usually a machine that you're not familiar with. frustration abounds
Not an
in
ideal
hands-on.
practice
Yeah,
scenario. It never is.
it really isn't. And also the sort of mental cramming of time where you're fighting so many like small unknowns that you might already be an accomplished quilter, but if it's a machine that you're not familiar with, set at a height that you don't love, maybe with a thread that isn't your personal favorite choice, or with fabric that's too high contrast, like there's so many small like details that make it not feel like a fun experience when you do a hands-on class, um, that I often step back from that, and I'm often teaching in other opportunities as demonstration or demonstration drawing, and honestly those students are just as, if not more, happy, because the pressure of having somebody staring at you while you're trying to fight a machine that you're not familiar with at a height you don't love. I don't think that this is a negative. You can go and try it out if you want to. I think the teachers will be popping in and out like during these free times if we can, and be able to give some feedback if we want to, or if you want us to. I'm certainly willing to do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is a negative thing. The demonstration components and then being able to take that, I guess, USB stick home with you to then sit with the information, relax, where you don't feel like you have to be cramming. That's the other really negative thing about a quilt convention, is that you're just so
like drinking from
overwhelmed
a
with
fire
information.
hose. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. And there's no follow through after that. There's certainly no recordings after that. So I don't view this as a negative. I think it's just all positive, plus Mai Tais and cocktails, bathing suits, and probably tropical birds. At some point, there will probably be somebody offering kissing of parrots, I'm sure, when we go. So many positives to that.
Not to love. I completely agree.
I don't know.
And we are trying honestly to jam pack value into this in various ways. So, beyond the lessons, beyond the business breakouts, we've got a couple discussion panel sessions, right, where people can fire any question they've got at We 3. We're going to have a videographer there. He's going to be offering insights for anyone that wants to get into that. Like, I'm a YouTuber. And if you want to do anything on YouTube, and frankly, these days, if you want to produce little reels, for Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, you need some knowledge about those things. And so we're hoping to have this, again, just a wealth of information and help that's accessible there. It's a deep pool of knowledge, really, that's coming along.
It really is. And also because of, we're sitting together with lunch, we're offering ourselves up for breakfast and dinner to sort of hang out. It's getting to know each other and, three super professional quilters. I know that I personally love that. And I am an open book. So when people want to bend my ear about something, it's hard to shut me up about it. So, it's a really fun experience.
None of the
just,
three of us have any trouble
just
talking.
don't make fun of me on the Caribbean cruise that I won't eat fish. So just saying that out loud. No making fun of me for my utter childlike refusal to touch fishes.
You and Mr. Producer both.
Yeah.
He will fish for them, but he won't eat them.
No, I like to look at them. I like to swim with them, but I will not be snacking on them.
Possibly yarn couch them. Because didn't you do a koi? Did you do a yarn couch koi?
I've done yarn couching of fishes and sea turtles several times. I've done sea turtles, lots of octopus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure that the crews will be like, oh no, but the chef prepared this amazing thing, and I'm just gonna be like, ew. Yeah, I just can't.
They must have more people that do that, because the dinner menu usually has a couple of choices. Like,
awesome choices. Are you kidding?
There's always choices that have nothing to do with seafood for those that don't care for it.
I'm going to be hitting that workout room at night, because I know I'll be at that belly up to that all-you-can-eat buffet at least twice a day.
I know, and there's usually an Italian place that's open sort of round the clock, and oh my goodness.
Exactly, exactly. And the ice cream, all the time. Always. For sure. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great experience. I'm really excited, and Sam's techniques and styles are great. I'm actually really looking forward to I'm hoping to eavesdrop a little bit on her program, dealing with really spiky quilts, because she just does so many of like Jacqueline Dijon and Colorworks style quilts. And they are so intimidating. I personally am terrified of them, because, they just need so much work.
And every one I feel like is different. Like every angle in them is different.
It
And every
is.
book is
It
different.
is. And so, in my opinion, like I have a lot of experience, but those particular things I avoid because I don't know, they're just not in my wheelhouse. So I'm kind of looking forward to also learning from you guys as well.
Yeah. Super good. Okay, folks, I'm going to, when I upload this live afterwards, I'll put some links actually in the comments. But for now, know that if you want more cruise information, head to sbexperiences.com. And there's some cruising information there, details about it, more details about those of us that are teaching, obviously the prices and rooms that are available and so forth. So check that out.
Oh, don't
Email
forget
us.
that you've set up an email chain. So if
Right.
you're single
Right.
and you need a partner, there's a way for you to connect people to do that. So that's
So if you're a cruiser, you know, and if
mm-hmm,
you're a new cruiser, I'll tell you, the
mm-hmm,
most inexpensive, the most economical way always is double occupancy in a room, two people.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
if you're just one person wanting to go on the cruise but don't want to pay for one whole room, we have a way for you to
Yeah,
connect via email with some
yeah,
other people. It's kind of on your own hook to like vet the person that you would
yeah,
be with
sure.
and find out preferences and so forth. But there's a way that you can connect if you wish and share a room with someone. So yes, so that is possible. And if you have any other questions about it, my husband is the contact guy and he's David at stitchedbysusan.com. You can ask him any questions there that you have. So I think that covers it for today. We'll probably do a couple more of these in the upcoming
Great.
weeks. As summer hits, we're going to start talking more about going to the Caribbean.
Right, right.
All right.
So
Well, thanks so much for joining me. Have a great
I'll be
rest of the
seeing you.
afternoon. See
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.